Imagine for a moment that you're driving down the interstate at 6 in the morning, coffee still warm in the cup holder, already checking email at the stoplight. Before you even get to the office, your mind is already processing 17 different tasks. Meeting at 9, back-to-back calls until lunch, that project that was supposed to be finished last week, and the kids who need to be picked up from soccer practice. You feel productive, busy, important even. But at the end of the day, looking back, you always feel the same. You've been running around all day and not getting anywhere. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. We live in a culture where being busy has become synonymous with being successful. Where working 50 or 60 hours a week is almost a badge of honor. Where having 3 screens open at once is considered normal. But what if I told you that you're doing it all wrong? What if the key to achieving more was actually doing less? It sounds counterintuitive, I know. It goes against everything we've been taught about work ethic and hustle. But the data doesn't lie, and neuroscience has something fascinating to teach us about how our brains really work. Researchers at renowned universities have discovered something that will change your perspective on productivity. When we try to multitask, our brains aren't actually multitasking. They're doing something called task switching, rapidly switching between tasks. And each time we switch, we lose mental energy. It's like you're constantly rebooting your computer instead of letting it process a program from start to finish. The prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for focus and decision-making, has a limited capacity. Think of it as the RAM in your computer. When you open too many programs at once, everything slows down. The difference is that in your brain, this slowdown translates into mental fatigue, poorer decision-making, and, paradoxically, less productivity. There's a concept called attention residue. Every time we switch from one task to another, part of our attention gets stuck to the previous activity. It's like trying to clean a greasy pan with only cold water. No matter how hard you try to focus on the new task, your brain is still processing fragments of the previous one. Elite athletes know this instinctively. When a basketball player stands at the free throw line, he's not thinking about the crowd, the score, or the next play. His focus is completely on a single action. This singular focus is what separates the good from the great. Now let's bring this into reality. You're in the office needing to finish that important report. But every 5 minutes there's a new email, a message on Slack, a notification on your phone. Your brain is constantly being interrupted, rebooted, lost track of what's going on. At the end of 8 hours, you've worked, but you haven't produced quality work. You've been busy, but you haven't been effective. The difference between busy and productive is the same as the difference between running on a treadmill and running on a trail with a set destination. On the treadmill, you get tired, sweaty, and burn calories, but you don't get anywhere. On the trail, every step takes you closer to your goal. Successful business leaders discovered this truth long ago. They don't do more things than others. They do the right things with total dedication. While most people are trying to take on the world, they pick 3 priorities and execute them flawlessly. While others respond to every email in 5 minutes, they block out 2 hours a day for deep, uninterrupted work. It's not laziness. It's strategy. Think about your smartphone for a moment. When you close all the apps that are running in the background, your battery lasts much longer. Your brain works the same way. When you stop trying to process 17 things at once, your mental energy multiplies. The first step to mastering this approach is brutally simple, but it takes courage. Identify your only 3 priorities. Not 5, not 7. 3. Take a sheet of paper right now and list all of your current responsibilities. All of them. Work, family, personal projects, social commitments. Now look at that list and ask yourself the hardest question. If you could do just 3 things in the next 90 days, what would they be? What are the activities that, if done with excellence, would make everything else irrelevant or easier? This is not an easy question. Your mind will resist. It will try to convince you that everything is important, that you can't just ignore other things. But here's the truth. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. When you try to do everything, you do nothing well. Big corporations do this all the time. They call it a focus strategy. Instead of trying to compete in every market, they pick 2 or 3 segments and dominate those niches completely. The result? Bigger market share, bigger profitability, bigger brand recognition. Once you've identified your top 3 priorities comes the most challenging part. Learning to say no. Not just to the obviously bad things, but to the good things that don't align with your core goals. That interesting project that came up. That networking opportunity that seemed promising. That favor a colleague asked of you. If it doesn't directly contribute to one of your top 3 priorities, the answer is no. It may sound selfish, but it's not. It's about respecting your time and your goals. When you say yes to everything, you're saying no to the things that really matter. You're stealing energy and attention from your true priorities. The third element of this strategy is intense focus blocks. Instead of working for 8 hours with 1,000 interruptions, you work in 2-hour blocks completely focused on a single task. Phone on airplane mode. Email closed. Door closed. Mind completely dedicated to what you're doing. Sounds radical? Maybe. But the results are impossible to ignore. People who implement this approach report finishing in 2 hours what used to take them all day. Projects that used to drag on for weeks are finished in days. The quality of work improves dramatically because there's finally room in the mind for creativity and problem solving. I know an entrepreneur who was running a startup with 12 different products. All of them were average, none of them exceptional. He was working 70 hours a week, always chasing things, never satisfied with the results. Until he decided to do something radical. He cut 11 products and focused on just one. In the first few months, revenue dropped. But he resisted the temptation to go back to the old model. He invested all his energy, all his creativity, all his time in that one product. 6 months later, revenue not only recovered, but tripled. 2 years later, he sold the company for a sum he never would have made with the 12 average products. The difference between this entrepreneur and most people is that he understood one fundamental principle. It is better to be exceptional at one thing than to be average at 10. Another example, a consultant who took on any client who came her way. Small projects, big projects, projects in areas she didn't fully understand. She was always rushing, always stressed, and never able to charge what she was truly worth. She decided to change her strategy. She started accepting only projects in a specific area, only clients who could pay her premium rate, only work that genuinely excited her. Within 6 months, she was working 20% fewer hours and earning twice as much. Most importantly, she was passionate about her work again. These are not isolated cases. They are examples of people who discovered that less can be exponentially more. That quality trumps quantity. That focus trumps dispersion. Implementing this philosophy starts today. Not next week, not next month. Today. You're going to do a simple but transformative exercise. For the next 7 days, instead of checking email constantly, you're going to check it just 3 times a day. In the morning, after lunch, and at the end of the workday. Instead of working with multiple tabs open, you're going to work on a single task at a time. Instead of accepting every meeting that pops up on your calendar, you're going to ask yourself, does this contribute to one of my top 3 priorities? It will be uncomfortable at first. Your brain is addicted to multitasking, to constant stimulation, to being always busy. But after a few days, you will start to notice something extraordinary. Your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become more precise, your work becomes more creative. You will discover that you have more time than you thought when you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. If you've made it this far, it's because you recognize that there is a better way to live and work. A way that honors your time, your energy, your potential. And if this content resonated with you, consider subscribing to the channel. Not because I need more subscribers, but because you deserve to have access to more content that can genuinely transform your life. The truth is that you don't need to do more to achieve more. You need to do less but with total dedication. Fewer projects, more excellence. Fewer meetings, more creative work. Less rush, more results. Your potential isn't limited by the number of hours you work. It's limited by how clearly you choose where to invest your energy. When you stop trying to be everywhere at once, you can finally be fully present where it matters. The power is in your hands. It's in your ability to choose. To say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what transforms you. Start today. Choose your 3 priorities. Create your first block of intense focus. Say no to the next distraction that comes along. Your life is waiting for you to stop running in circles and start walking with purpose. The time is now.